Okay, so they're telling me that prior to, they keep finding it turning itself off. So when you turn the thermostat off, the pilot stays lit. Turn it on. Alright, so here's my observation right away. I'm looking at that oil. It looks hot, real hot. Let's put our thermometer on it. So we're 413, 416. It's hot. Should be like 375. Alright, fryer. 360, 365. So the irony is when you turn this on to 250, the burners came on. So this thermostat is bad. So instead of the thermostat turning itself off at 400, it's just running. It's just on the throttle. That could be because there's a probe that runs in right through the bottom of the belly, and that probe comes up in there. If they don't have a grate in the bottom and they put the baskets in there and they shake the baskets, they can break the probe. But the reason they keep finding it off is if I just leave this on, and I'm not going to, this is a high limit, and it is set to cut out at about 410, 420, something like that. So that in this exact situation where the thermostat is just running away, if there isn't something to intervene, that oil is going to get so hot, it'll just burst into flames. So this is going to intervene, and when it interrupts, it's going to kill the pilot, and you're done. So we do stock thermostats. So we are going to have to get this thermostat changed for them. Fryers down until that's done. Okay, so the unit did have a grate in it. This bracket is designed to hold the high limit goes through there, and the thermostat goes under here. It was not. It was sitting right on the edge, and I barely want to touch it because I can see it right there. When I touch this, boom. So there's why the high limit broke. It was sitting there, or why the thermostat broke. It was sitting there way too close and in contact with this tube. These tubes run 700 degrees and they transfer the heat out to the oil. So the probe needed to be under that bracket. It came out. Unfortunately, like I said, you have to drain the oil because it penetrates through the bottom. So we'll get into that and show you. It's pretty easy. It's not any big deal. It's the front one. It's right here. Right here. Alright, so laid it on its back so we don't have to fight gravity. So there is the old thermostat. I took the housing off, took the thermostat out of it. I've left it wired up, but I pulled the broken-ended, right? And I pulled the threaded part out of there. So that is where our new thermostat gets fed through. Nice and straight. Okay. All right, let's see where that is now. Perfect. Okay, so again, this little fragile line, we don't want to put bends on. So we put a gentle slope on it. It's going to go beneath that bracket. A friend of mine taught me to put a screwdriver right here, and that lets you put a curve on get that nice curve on it without having to bend or risk. So I'm going to use two hands to back this out and mount that under there. Personal preference, I always wrap my connections with electrical tape. This is going in a metal housing, and this actually isn't even voltage. This is millivoltage that's created by that milliamp sensor. So the flame heats that up. It basically is a signal. It's not voltage. It sends a signal in, and then when the signal gets home. But either way, I don't want this shorting out on the top of the box, so I always wrap it up. Okay, sensor appropriately attached. Housing back in place. I ran the sensor probe under there and then up, and then I've zip tied all the electrical wires into the box so they're not going to go back into the burners. That should be good. I'll fill her up with oil. Let her go. Okay, so just as a midway testing point, to the C, oil is about 250. Where's that glare? The oil is about 250. When I set it for 250, the burners are off. When I turn it hotter, they come back on. So I'm going to set it for 350 like it's supposed to, but it is now satisfying at the right temp. So as long as she shuts off at 350, which will verify, that is a wrap.